and welcome to the couch. Uh, Today we're talking about NFL Week 5 predictions, and then also Week 4 takeaways. Just we got a lot of stuff to talk about NFL this week, fantasy football, everything like that. Let's go ahead and get into it. I don't know if you're watching on audio, but I think some things got moved around in the room, and now I look very short. I can assure you I'm 6 foot if you round up. And but I look very odd today, so but oh well. Uh but let's go ahead and talk about just a few teams. This week was a lot of upsets. Chargers obviously losing to the Giants. And Dart kind of looked impressive. Um Especially for a rookie debut. I don't think that he's going to be the next Peyton Manning, but he had a good win. Giants get a win 4 games into the season, probably a little bit sooner than I thought they would. And but they obviously lose Malik Neighbors, and I want to talk about how obviously catastrophic that is for the Giants. You lose someone who is debatably top 10 in the league, and someone who completely changes this offense. Right? I mean, you have such a livelihood and not livelihood, but you have such a spark when you have players like Cam Scadaboo just running angry out there. You have a good locker room with Jameis and Russ and Dart. They seem like they're fun, and they can at least you're the Giants. You're not going to win very many games. You might as well have a helpful locker room in developing these guys. And you have Malik, who is his second year in the league, and he's a great guy, fun. So you don't just lose the fantastic player. You lose someone who's there to help you mid game, change a lot of things. And it is really sad. Obviously, him being out for the season, and the Giants will look forward to next season. Uh, but honestly, this Giants team, they have the hardest schedule in the NFL. I don't know how many more games they win. I don't know how many more that Dart ends up looking good in. I want to go ahead and look at their schedule going towards the future. And I know that they're hard. I know they play Philly pretty much back to back in the next coming weeks. So they obviously play. All right, they just played the Chargers. Then they have a game against New Orleans, who I think New Orleans has a shot to get their first win here. Spencer Rattler has been playing okay. I think he threw for three touchdowns against the 49ers the other week. And he's looked okay. He's looked serviceable for the era that New Orleans is in right now. And but then they got Philadelphia, Denver, Philadelphia, and that's a rough stretch of games. And then they end up playing San Francisco. We'll see how healthy that team looks come around that, but that could very easily be a difficult game. So we'll give them the win against New Orleans, and but all these other ones are losses, right? So that's 4 straight losses. So 1-4 over the next 5 weeks. Then they play the Bears, who I think will have it more together by then. Obviously, you saw them. You saw the ceiling of the Bears when they played the Cowboys 2 weeks ago, and then you saw how they can still, even when the offense isn't producing, they're able to win football games. You saw block the kick against the Raiders to win the game. Electric moment. Um, so I think that's the game they lose. And then they play Green Bay, who's struggling right now, admittedly, just coming off a tie against Dallas, which should not have been a close game. And then they play Detroit. That's another loss. Then they play New England. I think that's close, but I think New England has it. I mean, I think they're 2-2 right now, and able to, take on some of these teams and actually put up a fight. And then who else do they have? I mean, by this point you're eliminated from playoffs, obviously, right? They have a Week 14 bye, pretty much useless for the Giants. Then they play Washington, Vikings, Vegas, and Dallas. And I think maybe they could beat Vegas if Geno keeps playing um, under par. But all these other games, I think they're losses. I think they maybe get a win against New Orleans, maybe get a win against San Francisco, depending on how healthy that team is. Maybe against New England, and those are their easiest games. Uh, Glad they got the win against the Chargers, and obviously they could win these games, right? I mean, they showed an ability to beat the Chargers. They have a pretty good front seven, uh, and hopefully Abdul Carter gets even better throughout the season. But I don't think that without Malik, they're going to be able to make much of an impact. And I think that Wandale Robinson's pretty underrated. But I don't think that with Wandale and Darius Slayton, they're going to be able to make enough of a move. And yeah, and I kind of split on how I feel about how the Giants should continue to go about their season. Right, I've seen a lot about stuff about Brian Dable should get fired. I'm not sure about that. I like the energy he brings to the team. I know he's had not good seasons, but he also had a season where they went to the playoffs with Daniel Jones. And we're seeing that Daniel Jones can be effective in Indy, but we're also seeing a team that has really never been good throughout Dable's tenure. If like we just look at the last few years, let's just go back. Let's go back not even to last year, but can I not go back? Let's look at that playoff team. I don't think it was a good team, right? I mean, it's not. It clearly was not a good team, and I don't think that they should fire Daboll after the season. I don't think the problem is the coaching. I think if anything is to point a finger at, it's the GM. I don't like what the GM is doing. I think letting Saquon go obviously was not good. Focus on these playmakers. Imagine an offense with Saquon, Jackson Dart, and Malik Neighbors. I mean that is completely different than what we're experiencing right now. And also, why not invest in this offensive line? I mean, they really haven't gotten anybody to improve it. And so I don't blame Dable. I blame the GM. I mean, they've done a great job putting the defense together, but it's not winning them games. So they made it to the 22-22 playoffs where they got a playoff win, and I want to look at that roster. You know, they had Saquon, obviously, Daniel Jones, Isaiah Hodgins, Daniel Bellinger, Richie James, Darius Slayton, Matt Breida. I mean, this is not a good team. These are all the people who recorded stats for the offense. And then the defense, they had Xavier McKinney, they had Dory Jackson. As an Eagles fan, I have mixed feelings, but they have Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, Leonard Williams, Julian Love. Like this was a good defense. And Nick McLeod's all right. Aziz Ojolari. I don't think he was playing. Was that his good season? No, it really wasn't. He was hurt a lot of it. Um, but yeah, I mean, not a good team. Dayball, I think, has proven that he can be able to get some wins out of bad teams. I think they just need to continue investing in the team. I think they're a great point, right? Rookie quarterback, great quarterback locker room, and good defense. And I think that is the best way to support a rookie QB. Even though Jackson Dart is probably not the rookie I would have taken if I was in that situation, as the GM, I think they're doing a good job. I think they just need to focus on the offensive line and planning for the future. And obviously, this Malik Neighbors injury has more fantasy implications than it does actual season implications for the Giants' goal, probably. But let's keep going. That there were, like I said earlier, there were a lot of upsets. I did very bad with my predictions this week, so we'll have to get it better in week 5. Check it out on the TikTok, on the Instagram, on the YouTube Shorts. Check it out if you can. I really don't know if you would call this an upset, but the Falcons beating the Commanders. Michael Penix had a great game, coming off a shutout at Carolina. Definitely got Drake London involved. Kyle Pitts got a touchdown. I think that was a game where they were actually able to utilize all the weapons that are on this Falcons offense and showed why they can be pretty dang good. Now, obviously, they played a Commanders team without Terry McLaurin or Jaden Daniels. That is not, and it was close. I mean, but Marcus Mariota is one of the better, if not the best backup in the league. And so, um, I think still a good win, able to get to 2-2, be competitive in the division, and really like what I saw from that Falcons offense. Hopefully, it continues Now they're in the bye week. Hopefully, it'll continue into week 6. Um, Panthers and Patriots. This is an upset, obviously. I originally picked the Panthers to win because I thought, they roll in against Atlanta. And while the offense didn't look great in Atlanta, it looked better than most days. And the defense was actually able to um, go against and stop the Atlanta team, which is the deciding factor for this Carolina season, right? How well is the defensive line going to play? Are they going to be able to stop the run? They weren't able to stop the run, but they were able to do enough to be able to make it a shutout. And that is what was really impressive. And so I thought Carolina might come into that game and do a lot better, but they did not carry over any of that success. They looked stagnant completely the whole time. The defense didn't look good. They got 42 dropped on them by Drake May, and it just seemed like they had no answers. So a really good win for the Patriots. Not an upset, but still a really surprising game that the Patriots are able to put up 42 and win. All right, let's keep it going. Eagles Buccaneers electric game. I want to talk about this one especially. First half, a lot of great ways to get not everyone, but get involved in the offense, especially in the passing game. I know that they were short little shovel passes, but getting Dallas Goedert involved near the goal line caused a lot of confusion the next times we go over there. And this is one thing that Kevin Patullo is doing great offensively is 11 trips to the red zone, 11 touchdowns. Flawless. And that is what is winning Philly these games, right? And so, while I don't agree with how the offensive line is blocking for, I don't agree with this offensive line scheme. I don't agree with how the drop back passing game is going. I think that there at least are some bright sides. But Saquon really needs to get going. I think he's averaging 3.3 yards per carry, and a lot of it is the offensive line. Matt Pryor, he needs to be cut. Okay, we need to find somebody else to play in these positions when guys get hurt. Okay, Lane Johnson is playing hurt for sure. I mean, he goes out pretty much at the end of the third quarter and doesn't play, and that's when the game really gets bad. But Matthew Pryor's in there. He doesn't look good. I mean, multiple plays that where Saquon could have had huge gains, but he's being moved 5 or 6 yards by Vita Vea. I mean, it's ridiculous. And so, I mean, it's hard to block Vita Vea, but maybe not 5 or 6 yards. Even if if he was getting moved 3 yards, Saquon would have been able to rip 10 yards off. So, it's really frustrating to watch because there's so much potential with his offense. And I think all of the bullshit about AJ Brown is one. I get him being frustrated. He saw 9 targets, not really great targets, but I think Jalen Hurts was playing hurt in that second half too. You saw that the late hit that didn't get called. I don't think it was a late hit, but it was a tough hit. His head hits the ground. He didn't have a completion after that. That's obviously speculation, but I think that that's going to affect how you play. I've seen it in other games where Jalen Hurts has taken similar hits and he's not played well after. Um, but in the first half, they had answers against the blitz, right? And because Todd Bowles sent the blitz. In the second half, there was a lot of simulated pressure, guys up crowding the line of scrimmage and then dropping back into pressure. Well, the game plan for Kevin Patullo didn't change. And so there were a lot of these predetermined outcomes that just weren't unable to be successful because the game plan didn't change. And the game plan has to adapt. Even if you're winning, the game plan has to adapt. And so run game is not looking good. The passing game is not looking good. I don't like a lot of the route concepts that are being drawn up. A lot of it is outside, but all of it's outside. You know what I mean? Like all of it's towards the sideline. We need to be incorporating in the middle of the field passes. Not everything is going to be, uh, you can't just avoid a part of the field. It's impossible. But I'm really unimpressed with how the line is playing. Mailata looks fine. I think Dickerson is playing hurt. I think Jurgens is playing hurt. They look not like themselves a lot. And so I don't know what it's going to take for this Eagles team to actually get to where they're going. But even so, they are 4-0 and the uh, best team in football. The best team in football. And it's because this roster top to bottom is amazing. I mean, this defense while playing very good quarterbacks through the first 4 weeks, is playing fantastic. I mean, if you take out the two explosive plays, obviously they shouldn't have got two explosive plays. One being an insane thread the needle by Baker Mayfield. This looks like a lot different game. And able to force two turnovers on a team that hadn't turned the ball over at all. Look, this defense is good. Got a lot of young guys. It's going to just keep getting better. Obviously, not having Nolan Smith is bad. And then N'Kobe Dean is coming back soon. So there will be a lot of upside as this season goes on for the defense, but the offense needs to get it fixed. And I think it will. I have faith that this offense will. I'm not super worried about the rest of the season. I think it will get better. And then for the Buccaneers in this game, showed a lot of fight. 65-yard field goal, pretty awesome. But you you can't leave them out in the game. All of their games they have been won by one score, and pretty much, I think they won in the last 2 minutes in every single game. So and every single game that they won. You can't count them out. You got to make sure that this is a team you don't want to play in the playoffs. You do not want to be in the wild card going up against them. It's not going to be fun because they're going to win the division at this point. You don't want to do that. You don't want to have that. So, very dangerous team for the Bucks. Played a great game. Obviously, without Evans, Godwin didn't look great, but Ibuka, he looks like a stud. Bucky looks like a stud, as always. And so we'll go ahead and move on. Texans. I had the Titans winning this game. I thought the Titans were going to be able to take advantage of the Texans O-line a lot more. I mean, you saw the clip of, I think it was Jeffrey Simmons got the fastest sack in the last 2 decades. Maybe it was 2 years. Some form of time. It had been a while. He got a sack in 2.09 seconds. Something crazy. Something insane. And you watch the video, and the offensive line, they just slid the wrong way. So the center moved to the left to help double team for the left guard, and the right guard went to the right, and the right tackle went to the left. So they kind of just sandwich into each other, and then that creates a huge hole for Jeffrey Simmons to just run through and tackle C.J. Stroud before the handoff or for the play action, depending on which one. We didn't even get to find out. I thought that Titans were going to be able to take more advantage of that. Ended up not being able to score any points, and Cam Wright is right. They ass. He's entirely right. The receivers are not being able to create separation. Cam Ward doesn't really have a lot of time to throw the ball, and it's not going to be a fun year for the Titans. I did think this is one they were going to be able to pull out because of the Texans' weaknesses, but you have to remember C.J. Stroud's out there. You have to remember that Nico Collins is out there, and this defense is great. So you got to take those into account. And then this is an upset that I picked and almost happened. If Adonai Mitchell wasn't there, man, would I have gotten this game right? Colts Rams, infuriating to watch from Adonai Mitchell's perspective. I mean, completely sold the game single-handedly, and there's not a lot of games that you can say that, but pretty much himself committing a holding penalty on a Jonathan Taylor 64-yard touchdown, and also fumbling the ball out the back of the end zone after an insane play. I mean, and it's not like he was under any duress. Not someone forced the fumble. He just dropped the ball and it went out the back of the end zone. Absolutely heartbreaking plays. And, I think this Colts team is pretty legit. I think this was a test for them. They almost passed it. And Daniel Jones is obviously not perfect. There were a lot of missed throws or bad throws in this game. But, this Colts team is going to be able to get wins and probably win this AFC South. Then Jaguars being able to get a win against the 49ers. Did not see that coming. This 49ers team is just so hurt. You think the 49ers and you think, oh, they have all these good players. Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Brock Purdy, Jawan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk. And then Nick Bosa. And then you realize, oh, half of them are hurt. And Brock Purdy's questionable again. I don't know what's going on in the water in San Francisco. Their bones are brittle over there in San Francisco. It's ridiculous. It's like every game they might as well have an ambulance on standby to wheel out uh the next casualties. And so, really surprised the Jaguars got a win, a very close win, in fact. But impressive for the Jaguars to actually go out there and make a statement, say, "Hey, we're gonna play good. Even we're not gonna use our two best receivers in Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas. They're not gonna use them, but they will win a game." So, and then Chiefs Ravens blowout. I thought this would happen. I thought the Chiefs would win. Really worried about the Ravens. I did a video about the Ravens on uh, the TikTok about their defense, focusing on that. And go check it out. It's really interesting because their defense has been playing terrible and it's lost them pretty much all these games. But they have played the three best offenses in football, arguably, and you know, what are you supposed to do? So what I did was I looked at, you know, what are these EPA per play rankings on offense for these teams before they go up against the Ravens and after. And it really was kind of inconclusive. The Bills were obviously not ranked beforehand. They ended up being second, and now in this current week they're ranked one. So I mean, you could maybe argue that they didn't play up to par. Uh, the Chiefs they stayed the same after that happened. Um, the Lions they jumped up a little bit. The Browns jumped down. So there was kind of really inconclusive results. But I did find that the three teams they lost to have some of the most high-powered offenses in football based on EPA per play. I mean, we're talking about the number one offense, the number three, and the number seven. So you could make that argument. I am not super worried about this Ravens team. I still think they'll make the playoffs. They have a very easy, stretch of games coming up, and so they'll be able to make up the wins. They're definitely winning the division. I saw someone say that the Steelers win the division. There is no chance Steelers win the division. I'm sorry. I still don't believe in the Steelers. I think they are getting so incredibly lucky. I mean, if Carson Wentz doesn't start this game for the Vikings, they lose, right? And they have literally won all of these games off like one play. And that's all it takes, right? But I soon think the coin flip will go the other way. I don't think that they beat the Ravens twice. I don't think that they beat the Browns twice. I think the Browns probably win one of those games. I am so unhyped about the Steelers. I really don't think they're maximizing their potential. And then I don't feel the need to really talk about any of those other games. Dolphins looked better. Jets kind of just shot themselves in the foot. Brees Hall said it best. When the other team shoots themselves in the foot, we shoot ourselves in the head. And he's kind of right. Two fumbles that, put the game away pretty early, and then just not able to come back in the fourth. And then Bengals looked disastrous with Jake Browning. I thought before the season Jake Browning is one of the best backups in the league, proving to me to be wrong, and whatever. And then Packers Cowboys. I mean, talk about disappointment for the Packers, right? You come into the season, you start 2-0, start off hot, and you have these Super Bowl aspirations. I mean, you just traded for a generational player, and the defense looks great throughout the first two games, and then you lose in somewhat uncommon fashion to the Browns. You have a blocked field goal, and then they're able to go down and kick a field goal to win the game. And it's very rare, to have a team like that be upset. And then you come into the next week and you tie with one of the worst defenses in football. And while, credit to Dak, he played amazing in this game, but the defense looks like Swiss cheese. And the defense is supposed to be the thing that's supposed to be the best part of this team. The offense is very high variable. It is so, there is any given Sunday, this offense could score 3 points or 50. And you could say, hey, that's every team in the NFL. My point is, Jordan Love in this offense is inconsistent. And the defense is supposed to be the consistency, the thing that doesn't change. And you're seeing Micah Parsons got one sack. I think it was against Dak, and it did not look good. Like the defense just did not look good throughout the game. Dak was just completely slicing that team up. And so, I'm kind of worried about the Packers. And when you look at the NFC, you think, okay, Lions, Eagles, Rams, Bucks. Those are like my four teams that look very dangerous to go to the postseason. I want to see more of Jaden Daniels before I include the Commanders. Um, and then you have the Packers, and you're like, I think that they're better than the Bucks, but the Bucks could win that game. I think they're better than Rams, but that's scary for the Packers. And then I don't think you want to test the Lions. I don't think you want to test the Lions in the playoffs. You also don't, and then I think the Eagles clear. So this Packers team, the expectation is Super Bowl. The outcome needs to be Super Bowl to pay off because you gave away 2 first-round picks, and so you need to be able to make it count. And I mentioned a few weeks ago, Tyreek Hill could be on the trade block. Now his leg's in a cast, and he's out for the season. And I don't know any other receivers that would be, on the trade block, able to be, traded for to get the game going for the Packers. And so, really disappointing game for the Packers. And I am worried. I'm very worried. We'll see how it will play out. And obviously, once they get some of the receivers back off IR, they're just, the receiver room is very injured. We'll see how that plays out. That's week 4, baby. Um, this it's so interesting to see like these crazy looks from the Texans and the Bengals offensive lines where they're just getting beat on like 3-man pressures or they're getting sacked instantly. And I just kind of feel bad for CJ Stroud and Jake Browning because I don't think that Jake Browning is as bad as he looks right now, but Lord, I mean, they're not helping him at all. But looking up the next week, I just want to talk about some of the games of the week. A lot of there are a few pretty good matchups. Seahawks Bucks gonna be electric. The Seahawks team I was pretty low on. A team that I think should have lost last week to the Cardinals. The Cardinals weren't without their top 3 corners. Would have been a whole different game. And surprisingly, they're 3-1. Line is playing better than I thought, but now they play the Bucks, and I think the Bucks easily win this one. I mean, while the Bucks have been losing games in close fashion or winning games in close fashion, this Buccaneers roster is clearly better. So much clearly better. The receivers are better. The running back is better. Quarterback is better. I mean, if you just want to go off that, but if you also just want to go off offense and defensive rankings, I mean, this Bucks defense is worse than the Seahawks. I have to give that one to the Seahawks. But I don't think that the Seahawks offensive line is, good enough to completely take out Vita Vea. And this Buccaneers team you're not going to get them to go away. And I think that Buccaneers just start running away with this one. Then the Lions play the Bengals. If you have anyone on the Lions, start them this week. If Bo Nix is going to drop 28, the Lions might drop 100,000. Please, please start anyone that is on the Lions this week. Like, it is going to be a slaughter. A slaughter. Eagles Broncos. That's gonna be a fun game. I think another test for the defense. Eagles also have a really hard schedule, and I think this is a game they could lose. It's gonna suck if they do, but I think they could lose. I don't think that this is out of reach for them to lose. They're gonna have to be able to pressure Bo Nix and make some errant throws. But the real thing is they need to be able to get AJ Brown involved. I mean, we're gonna say this every week. Got to get AJ Brown involved. Got to get Devontae Smith involved, and they need to clean up the run game. You can't have guards being moved 6 feet the other way and being tossed into the running back. I mean, it's not okay. I want to look. Let's see the injuries because I'm curious. I know that the starting like Tyler Steen is the right guard, but for some reason he was not playing in a few snaps last week. Doesn't look like he has any injury designation. And Lane Johnson should be right. I just hope that we're able to um, really get this offensive line cleaned up. Because the offensive line is so good in theory. You have Mailata, who's one of the best left tackles in football. Landon Dixon, who, when 100%, is one of the best left guards in football. Cam Jurgens is pretty damn good. Right guard Tyler Steen, I think he's serviceable. He came in last year when Mekhi Becton would go out, and he would play pretty fine. I didn't even think Fred Johnson, our backup tackle, is pretty good. He was able to hold up while Lane Johnson was out in that Rams game. Once Matt Pryor stopped, even looking at the field. So, and then Lane Johnson, obviously best right tackle in football. So, it is so good. It is just not executing, and I think they need to clean it up, and hopefully they will against this Broncos defense. And then what do we at? 30 minutes. I've been liking to limit it to 30 minutes because I think it's a little more accessible, but I think we're going to tackle a little bit more on today. I want to talk about Defensive Rookie of the Year and Offensive Rookie of the Year. And just talk about who are my favorites. I'll give 3 for each. And I'll go ahead and start off with Offensive Rookie of the Year. Clearly, it's Emeka Ibuka, right? At the moment. I mean, Gentry just had a great game. But, the offensive line is not helping him. Hampton just had a great game. Jackson Dart looked all right. It's between Ibuka and Warren because Warren has looked phenomenal as well as Ibuka. Tet has looked great, but the Panthers are struggling to even produce on offense. Cam Ward is 0-4. I don't think Scadaboo has a real shot. I'm just looking at the odds right now. I don't think anyone else on this list really has a shot. I mean, I'm kind of surprised Bashal Tutin's above Harold Fannin, who's been playing quite well. But yeah, I mean, it's got to be, for me, it's Ibuka. Now, I have him on my fantasy team, so maybe I'm using those emotions to determine that. But Ibuka's looked fantastic. Fantastic. I wonder where he leads in receiving yards. But like Warren has looked great too, but I think that Ibuka's just looked even better. Emeka Ibuka is 8. He's 12th in yards right now, out of everyone, and he has 282 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's had a touchdown in every game, or for every game, and had a 77-yarder. He's explosive. He has great hands, and he was getting locked up by Quinion Mitchell last week, and he was still able to find other ways to be productive, and that is really, really impressive. You know what's interesting looking at this list? Ricky Pearsall. There's no way, man. I want you to listen to this top 5. Okay, Puka obviously at 1 with the most receiving yards. Then it's Jackson Smith-Njigba. Then it's Quentin Johnston at 3. And then Ricky Pearsall, who's 10 yards behind him at 4. Then Justin Jefferson. There's something going on here. There's something wrong with this image. What a breakout for Quentin Johnston, by the way. But, that's surprising. Ricky Pearsall has, been playing this well. He has no touchdowns on the year. but 327, maybe someone to target in fantasy. 20 receptions, and 300 some yards might be someone to target. Uh, you know, maybe a little sleeper action. But you know what's even crazier is Christian McCaffrey's over here above of Rome Odunze, George Pickens, Tet, Malik Neighbors. He has more yards than Devontae Adams. Christian McCaffrey already has 300 receiving yards. Like, what a workhorse. Um, but anyways, yeah, I think Ibuka is my favorite for offensive rookie of the year at the moment. And I think he will win it because I think that he continues to produce. The only way he doesn't is if Hampton or Genty or Dart somehow look amazing throughout the rest of the season. And I think Genty has the ability to. This offensive line just needs to play like they want him to get yards. And then Hampton obviously is going to be on one of the league's best offenses, so they're going to need to be able to make him productive and make him more of the focus than rather the passing game. I mean, I made a video about it. They're not one of the best rushing offenses, so I don't think he will win it. But if he continues to produce like he did last week, um, he'll definitely be in the top three. The more interesting, uh, one is the defensive rookie of the year, right? So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the top contenders. We have Abdul Carter, number one. He's easily the favorite at plus 150, and then Jahad Campbell is number two with plus 400. And then we got Carson Schlesinger, Mike Green, Michael Williams. There's Mike Green on here twice. Mike Green's on here like 8 times. Oh. Anyways, Abdul Carter's number one. That's fair. That's fair. And I think that he's been playing great. I want to look at how well he's playing, but you know, Jahad Campbell's been playing amazing, and Andrew Bakuba has also been playing crazy. Interception. He's been great in the run game. But Jahad Campbell has been a whole nother beast. He is so fantastic in pass protection. He acts like he is a safety, but he plays linebacker. He is so good in not pass protection, in pass coverage. He is so good in pass coverage. So insane. I mean, the play that he made week 1 against the Cowboys where he's supposed to drop back. It's Tampa 2. He's supposed to be in that middle field zone, and he even sees the guy late. He gets his head around and sprints. He's so fast. He's able to make up all of it and deflect the pass. So good. He had forced a fumble in that game. He forced another fumble and against the Buccaneers. He has an interception. He has just been playing so good. So good. And that's why he's my favorite. I know I'm biased. I'm an Eagles fan, but it's not that crazy. It's not that crazy to say that he's the best rookie. I mean, Abdul Carter only has half of a half sack. 9 total tackles. You know, I'm not super like he's the favorite based off name value and the fact that he was picked so high. But if you compare him to Jahad Campbell's stats, Jahad Campbell goes insanely hard. I mean, you if you don't have a game that you want to watch when the Eagles are playing this week against the Broncos, watch the game and just look at Jahad Campbell. Just watch him. Don't even watch the ball. Just watch Jahad Campbell because it's insane. The fact that he's back there next to Zach Bond is absolutely insane, and this room is going to be insane for years to come. He's got forced fumble, interception, 12 solo tackles. Uh, 2 pass breakups. Why? Wait, hold on. There it is. All right. Yeah, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, 22 tackles. That's pretty nice. Did I do tackles for loss on ESPN? Anyways, he's been playing so good. He's so good. He's my favorite to win right now. Schlesinger has been playing amazing too. Both of the some of the top linebackers making a big impact on the offensive rookie of the year list. Carson Schlesinger, obviously the linebacker for the Cleveland Browns, probably one of the best defenses in football. He's playing fantastic, being able to play well against the run. I mean, I think they're the best team against the run in the NFL, and so playing great. But I think Jahad Campbell, because of his pass coverage skills, is going to be able to win it this year and really make an impact for this Eagles team. What else? I feel like that's it to talk about, honestly. Um, Hopefully we'll be having some guests on soon. I know I got one lined up for 2 weeks from now. Maybe next week we'll have one, and then we definitely have another one later in the season. Um, but yeah. Also, actually, I know what to talk about. I want you to tell me your thoughts on this, okay? So, yesterday, let's just say somebody in your league made a trade with somebody else in the league, and you thought, hey, I don't think that's fair. You don't think it's fair? That's fine. Do you conspire against them? Shout out my league mates for me waking up this morning. In my fantasy football league, I have Lamar Jackson and Michael Penix. Those are my two quarterbacks. Michael Penix obviously being on bye this week, and Lamar Jackson going to be out for a few weeks. So I was looking to pick one up. Not a great options with 14-man league. I think there was Carson Wentz, Spencer Rattler, Cooper Rush, Dylan Gabriel, Cam Ward. I think those are the only ones available that were going to start. Guess what I woke up to this morning? 4 out of the 5 being gone. There was a plan to snatch all of the quarterbacks from me because they did not like the trade I made. And the trade is, let me know what you think about the trade. Okay. I got A.J. Brown and I sent David Montgomery and Dallas Goedert. A.J. Brown being the wide receiver 46, and David Montgomery, who had a pretty bad week last week, but he was the running back 8 before last week, before he played the Browns, the best run defense of football. And then obviously Dallas Goedert, who's been playing amazing. I thought, hey, I have 3 tight ends. I don't need one. I'll start Jonnu or Harold Fannin for the rest of my season. I don't really care. I'd rather have A.J. Brown. So set the trade, got it done. And yeah, I woke up to my league mates conspiring. Honestly, pretty funny because I woke up and I about shit my pants because I saw that my waiver didn't go through, and I was like, who picked them up? And then scrolling through it was pretty funny. Luckily, one of them messed it up. Shout out. And I got Cooper Rush, and then I ended up getting Spencer Rattler. So, yeah. I don't know. That's crazy. It's crazy work. They always preying on my downfall. Anyways, I think that's going to be it for today. Hit 45. That's nice. That's going to be it for today. I'm going to try and get somebody on next week. Get talking in here. Talking about everything. Yeah. Well, thank you for listening, guys. And hope you check out next week. Check out the TikTok. Check out all the socials and stuff. We'll be posting a lot on there. And also, shout out the Chicago Bears. Shout out to Chicago Bears official TikTok. I posted a video of my friend Ewan reacting to the game-winning kick, and they used it in their they did like a compilation of all these fans reacting to it, and they used it. It was shout out. It was pretty cool. I got a notification that they saved it, and I was like, oh goodness, what is this gonna be used for? And then like a few hours later, it got posted. I was like, that's so sick, so cool. So check that out. Check out the socials. We'll be talking next week. I think what we'll do is we'll do some power rankings next week. I think 5 weeks in, it's a nice time to start doing some power rankings, get a good idea of where all the teams lie, and yeah. So thank you for listening, and I will see you next week. This podcast is produced by Student Media. Student Media is a student organization at the University of Evansville. Student Media produces the Crescent magazine, published online and in print 3 times a semester.
Student Media produces several podcasts and utilizes design, photography, video, and sound towards experimental and academic learning in journalistic endeavors and engaging storytelling. Student Media elevates the voice of the student body and connects the campus and community to important information and points of view.